We are Brightside Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Brightside Home Theater Podcast. The Home Theater Podcast, it's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes, and the swirling helicopter, which you might be able to hear in the background, guys. It is a police helicopter. I don't think they're here for me.
I told you, just duck under the desk if the bullets start flying.
Yeah, we couldn't hear it. When we were chatting before the show, you just were like, you're like, and then this
Yeah,
John,
it's right outside.
Did his mic go out? What happened? And it's like, it takes a lot to stop Steve mid-sentence.
It does. It's like a train going downhill.
It takes a lot for me too. It's like once you pull that pin, it's you can't put the explosion back in the hand grenade. So,
yeah, man. Can you not hear that at all?
No. That's the beauty of StreamYard and how it takes out the background noises and stuff. It's really nice. It actually is really nice. It does a really good job of it.
This thing is like right outside. Wow. Dear idea. Oh, well, never mind.
Just at the urge, I would have had to have been at the window at least once by now to see what was going on. I'm just way too nosy to not know.
Yeah, oh, well,
that's funny.
Yeah. Oh, well,
That's
never
really
mind.
funny.
God, last week it was a storm. This week it's just a helicopter.
Right.
Goodness me.
Jeez.
Guys, sorry, Deej. Here we are again.
Which audio issue is it? Loud or is it the clicking or what do we got going on here?
Maybe I'm a bit far
Super
away.
quiet, huh?
This DJ is quiet or Steve is loud. I'm guessing as usual, I'm perfect. So
You're the Goldilocks in this one. It's just right.
Yeah, exactly. Let me bump this. I can bump it up here, but
and see, it's funny because you all sound perfect to me.
Yeah,
exactly.
me too.
Last week you were low for me.
Yeah.
So
on our side, it sounds great. How is it now? I mean, I've really upped mine on my end here. It's way up. So
Never put anything up your end, Deej. It's not good for you, mate. It's,
a lot of awkward questions to answer later.
yeah.
Just ask Richard Gere.
Let's see.
just ask the
Sorry,
hamster.
DJ, you're super quiet. That's all right. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what else to do. I mean, I can't get any closer to the mic. I've got this at 65 dB. The mic that I'm running here, 66, 67, running the Roadcaster. So
Mike Schramm says it's okay. Van Gool says it sounds great in his
my
home
home
theater.
Well,
Maybe
we
that's
are
what
now
it is. Are we
broadcasting in Atmos? No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
That'd be brutal.
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. Well, while you're having a little look at that, let's do the chat thing. Shall I say hi to everyone in the chat?
I think I'm good. I'm going to set it right here and see what you guys think. But
okay.
And we are too low. Steve, John are correct. Steve and John are correct. Maybe not. Maybe they're too
Maybe
high.
we're too loud. Yeah, maybe we're too loud.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell us we're correct. We'll just assume it.
Yeah. Maybe, Paul, maybe my ears aren't calibrated. I like it.
Let's do that. That'll work. Okay.
In the prime listening position.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to figure out, honestly, it's the MacBook. How do I go in and change the sound like that's outputting? And I'm in it right now, and I'm like, okay, Rodecaster Pro 2 chat is like, what is it doing? How's that? I don't know. There's no way to adjust the output volume coming out of this thing, so I have no idea what to do.
All right. Well, let's see how we go, and just occasionally just shout really loud each. Just make it really quiet, and then just shout.
He'll get excited.
Yeah,
He'll get excited.
Exactly. Well, I can't get too much more excited. I mean, it's just.
Can I be more excited?
I had so many lines right there, John. It's like,
is that the electronic table going up and down, Deej, or is it?
Oh, jeez. Good God, Gertie. Oh, great googly moogly. Yeah. So other than that, DJ, you're too low. This DJ just talk louder. Doesn't do any good. Yeah. So, all right. That's the stream for this week. These are the settings. That's what I mean. Not like we're done. Thanks,
I was going to say.
Yeah, no, that these are the settings. Obviously, the audio only will be cleaned up nice. Everybody will be balanced. All that good fun stuff. So, all right. Where are we now? So, Steve, you were going to do the chat?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
did
just
you
because
while I was
there's a
chatting?
couple of things. No, yeah, there's a couple of things come up I want to talk about as well. So, yeah, so Steve Att was first in tonight. So, everybody all together, Steve Att is in the chat. There's someone called Steve George in saying hi all. Okay, I don't know who that is. So Van Gool's in. Hi, Van Gool. Mikey's in. Having made us all feel all a bit mushy, looking at the cool new puppy that he put up on Twitter. Picture of that, very very cute. That's the puppy, not Mikey. Although I've just got
Mike's
to get to know him better.
Come on.
Yeah, well, all right then. Let's go with that. Jordan's in as well. Hi, Jordan. Dominic's in, and who else we got? We got Kay's in. That's Carl, isn't it? Johnny Speaks is in. Marcus is in. Hi everybody. And again, if you're in the chat, Scruffy's in. Jack Lee's just dropping in. He always has a quick flying visit to say hello at the start. So hi, Jack, all the way from Oz. So everyone's there. And what I wanted to talk about, because I saw it in here, is Van Gool.
DJ?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's going to redo it. Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. While we're doing this little thing, he's going to drop back in. There he goes. He's back. Yeah. All right, Dave?
Yep. I'm all right. I don't know what the heck happened there.
I was like, I think we lost DJ.
Yeah. And I feel bad I didn't notice. I was trying to find the comment.
You were reading. So how is my audio, though, now?
Sounds the same to me, but...
I know to you guys, but I bumped it up on their end, so hopefully I don't accidentally back out. And okay, good. I didn't accidentally hit the end stream button.
No, I checked to make sure we were still live, even though you had dropped out. So
yeah, we're still live.
Here. Yeah, good stuff. So Van Gool mentioned anyway, he was watching King Arthur, Legend of the Sword this morning. I'm assuming on 4K and in Dolby Atmos. He's saying he's enjoying it. It's a really good HD experience. Completely agree, Van Gool. And if you go back to some of the earlier episodes of this show, King Arthur was the very first 4K movie I ever saw in Cinema George, and I heard it before I saw it because that's the movie they used to test the subs when they first turned it on, and the opening sequence in that is bass central, and so I could literally hear and feel the house moving before I walked into the cinema room and saw it all done for the first time. So yeah, it's a really decent film, and gents, it has a cameo from one David Beckham in it.
Oh, nice.
So there you go. Look at that.
Full circle. Of course, that was all pre-show, so they don't know what we're.
They don't know what
you're
talking about.
But yeah, he is in it very briefly, and he's dreadful, but he is in it. He's acting as awful.
That's the guy Richie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's friends with Beckham, and I mean they've known each other forever, and he's got a sort of a very short couple of lines in it where he tries to do a sort of Cockney accent, and it's awful. But yeah, blinking, you'll miss him, but he is in it.
There you go.
So there you go. But I recommend that if you guys haven't seen it, or if you've got it and haven't seen it,
I
for
have,
a while,
but I don't own the 4K disc, and I haven't seen it in 4K.
It'll be dirt cheap now because it's a Warner's disc as well. So it's worth picking up, John, for the HD experience of nothing else. Yeah. Because it is really beefy.
So yeah, recommend that while we're chatting.
Here we go, ka-ching, and the show's not 10 minutes old.
Yeah, exactly. Where'd it go?
It's not King Arthur Flower, right? It is actually
no. It should be. It's one of the first discs that came out. It was like 2017, so it came out kind of again. It's one I had before. I'd bought it before I even had the theater.
$16.
I'm surprised it's still that expensive.
Yeah,
it's bound to be on eBay for cheaper.
Yeah, I'll look, but I'm going to save it just so I don't forget.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's a fun movie for what it is. There we go. Anyway, lots of other cool stuff to talk about this week.
Oh yeah. We got a lot of stuff. By the end of the week, I was like, oh man, it's been the weather here has been miserable. I've had like one of the worst months business-wise for myself that I've ever had. I had a December like this probably 8-9 years ago, which really stinks going into Christmas. You're like, sorry, kids.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, so this month but it gives me more time in my theater and more time to do stuff and around the not so built house. But yeah, at the end of the week, I was like, oh man, I got into a lot of stuff this week. So actually dropped a few. But let's see, what else do we? Oh, hey, let's get to this right away. See, I gotta bring up present again because I dropped out. Now I gotta share screen. You know what's so funny? I was thinking while you were going over the chat and the people in the chat. And I think, did you mention a new one? I think we have in there, Holger. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen Holger before.
Oh, okay.
I might be wrong.
Wasn't sure. So, but just saying, hi, Holger.
Yeah.
So,
and Holger, while you're there, if you'd let us know where you are, because we're always fascinated to know where people are. So if you're in Europe or anywhere else, or just down the road from Deej, let us know.
No, where did it go? Did I get it?
That,
Holger Hegel. That doesn't sound like a New England based name.
Germany. There we go. That's it from Germany.
There we go.
Hey, Holger. Nice. Oh,
we got too many cooks in the kitchen here.
Yeah, no, it's like, hi everyone, Germany. Hi everyone, Germany.
So that's what I was going to say while you were reading out the names and stuff and everybody. I was like, this is one of the few podcasts where we can actually like screw with this stuff and everybody understands because this is what we all do anyways. Well, maybe not Steve so much, but it's like,
no.
Steve pays people to screw around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
be like,
beg
hey,
your
I
pardon?
need to adjust my settings as a guy in the back.
That was pre-show. Don't get telling people on air.
Yeah, I was trying to let it go so we could keep the show moving. But yeah, it's.
I think I need a lawyer.
Yeah. But yeah, I appreciate everybody's input, and I used to get all like, ask John. I used to get the sweats when things went wrong, and now I'm just like, all right, cool. How's this? How's that? All right, yeah. Let's
Now I'm just like, hey, the show's the show. Screw it.
Yeah, this is what it is, everybody. You're lucky I'm wearing pants. So, anyways,
Hey, that's my line.
Big news. Joe Hetzel just became, literally moments before the show, just became a $5 member on Patreon. And what's cool is he texted. He's my IT guy, and so he texted me and he said it's only a $5 option because in today's Takeover Tuesday, I had mentioned that, you know, if everybody listening to us, if everybody gave $1, I'm like, I could quit my job. You guys would be getting paid. We'd have enough money coming in monthly. And so Joe took it to heart and he went on to sign up for $1. And I don't know what's going on Patreon, but all I had available was a $5 option. I know that always hasn't been the case because I have people at all different amounts. So I went in and I fixed it and I changed it to, let me see if I can come up with, where is my numbers here? My page.
Do you mean, did you change the options or you changed Joe's donation amount? He's now donating
exactly.
75 grand a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, knowing DJ, he'd roll it back to $1. And
quite 50 cents.
Lose the $4 a month.
Yeah, exactly. I am sorry about that, Joe. Here you go.
Refunds.
So what I did is I didn't know, I couldn't figure out how to make it just, pick whatever number you want. So I actually went in and did paid membership tiers. And the first tier is $1 because it is a minimum of $1 anyway. So on Patreon, if you go on and $1, you could buy us a box of Junior Mints. That's what it's called. Box of Junior Mints, $1 a month. A jumbo Reese's cup, $2 a month. $3 a month, a box of Cracker Jacks. $4, small soda. $5, what Joe bought us, a small box of popcorn. $7.50, a medium soda. $10, a large popcorn. $15 a month, you'd be buying us an extra large popcorn every month. $20 a month, it's just flat out Blu-ray, everybody. Thank you very much. If you're going to buy us a Blu-ray a month, we'd appreciate it. And $30 a month, 4K Blu-ray. And I stopped right there.
I think you
don't
need to
have
go up
do
to
any of
60.
them, but what's that?
You need to go up to 60, Deej, and we'll call that a Todd Anderson. Because judging by the manifest of the box of stuff he sent me,
I know.
it was about that. Not the cost to send it. That was on top.
I was just going to say, we'll put a $200 tier in and be like, ship it. That's all it'll say. Ship it. But yeah, so, and the tiers are all, I didn't set them up to be like, you get extra this or you get extra that. It's all just, I want it's all open. We do our our Zoom chat. There will be one coming, hopefully, maybe this week, if not, definitely next week. But then I do messages on there and stuff too. But I didn't want to set up all these different tiers and like you get different things. And I mean, who knows? Maybe in the future it's whatever we do. But I know people do $100 a month ones, and I personally know people, and they've had people sign up for it. I'm like, oh my god. But I'm not, But yeah, so thank you, Joe, for even bringing that up and bringing it to my attention. And as I said on the Takeover Tuesday today, I'm like, you guys support the show. It doesn't have to be monetarily. Sorry, John, this is where I go off the money side, off the money train. But, your support, the messages.
I don't get it anyways.
Well, if we got enough, you would. It's like
I don't get a penny, so it doesn't matter to me one
you've
way or
seen
the
the
other.
pricing structure. If we all of a sudden start getting paid, like we get enough, I'm not going to keep it all for me. I mean, all goes to either the donation or to everything. And I'm not even talking the hardware, just to run with all the software stuff. Anyways, but the support we get, and I wanted to bring this up with you guys here, because I said on the Takeover Tuesday today, it was like, the messages we get from you guys are what drive us as well. And I told them, you guys already know what Christmas was like. I had to take a week off, and I told you both that I'm like, man, having that extra week and realizing how much less pressure it was. If it wasn't for the listeners and the responsibility that we feel for them, it's so easy to walk away. Because it's like John and I have been doing this for almost 6 years, for over 5 years. And it does get, I mean, like I said in Takeover Tuesday, the three of us love talking to each other each week, but it would be so easy any week, any one of us could just go, can we take the week off? I'm wicked busy. I mean, John's got his stories running. Steve's keeping people out of jail. I'm a disaster.
Sometimes.
So it's but you know what I mean? So it'd be so easy to just say, let's just take this week off. And a lot of people do in podcasting. A lot of people do. And every week we're like, we can't wait to get back here. And it's because of you guys. And it's not the money. It's the money would be nice. That would be extra. But it would be like, but it's like seeing the chat going and talking to you guys. And then obviously getting the messages all week that we get. So thank you. All right.
Talking of messages, Deej.
Yes.
Yeah, let me just drop in there. I think we do have someone new. Edward Coolbreath from Yonkers in New York.
Nice.
And now, to my English ears, that just sounds so cool.
His icon, is he wearing a bike helmet in that? Or is it just like glasses on top of a hat? It looks like he could be mountain biking, which is really cool to me.
It's very cool. But Yonkers just sounds cool in New York. So that's a district of New York, yeah? New York City, not state.
Oh,
okay.
I don't know.
Come on, East Coasters.
Yeah, I don't exactly know that guys. Either, but
oh man. Nope.
Yeah.
MTB.
Steve Adden. Mountain biking. Mountain biking.
Yeah.
Hey, way to go, buddy. Yeah. Have you done Whiteface? That's in New York. I did Whiteface in New York. That was a trip. Ooh, that was awesome. That's where they had the Olympics in 1980. Lake Placid, Whiteface. They skied Whiteface for the Olympics. And I mountain biked it hard. Landed on my face once.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Let's see. Where else?
Hey,
yes.
We need to go over the charity for February.
February. Oh, January.
January.
Oh,
I don't know.
I told everybody what we did. What do you guys want to do? Steve, do you have one over there?
Not to hand immediately.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a little think about that one then, and we can
Okay.
we
I thought
can
we knew.
sort of talk about it.
I
sorry.
said last week that we needed to talk about it.
Well,
So.
what did we just? I don't want to do another thing that Jen and I just did. We just donated to another family, but we did that at Christmas. We donated to a family at Christmas and gave them all their gifts that they wanted. But yeah, that was the Christmas one, and that was well over. But yeah, so
All right.
this
Well,
month.
sorry for bringing it up.
No. I appreciate that.
Stay
'Cause
tuned
I don't
next
want
week.
us to. I don't want it to keep slipping by the wayside.
Well, that's why I brought it
apologize
up.
that it did. Yeah, thank you.
To be fair, Deej, you're probably better off doing one that side of the pond, as lovely as it would be over here, because I don't know if you send the money over, whether they'll get taxed on it, whether there'll be, all kinds of issues with that. I mean, it's
How
rare
about
you
this?
hear of international donations.
Anybody in the chat come up with a good charity, and we'll do it right here, right now on the chat. And I'll pull it up on my. I can't pay for it right now, but I can definitely get it done. So
First one in.
So let's do that in the chat, and then we'll go from there. Well, not first one. We'll see as they go. We'll take a few, and then we'll vote.
Okay, cool.
If we get a few,
And then results next week, then, so we don't get too sidetracked with that.
yeah. All right. Are we ready to get to this week's home theater experiences?
Yes.
That's it, right? We have anything else to talk about?
I mean, John should be wearing a black armband, but that's a completely different topic. It's nothing home theater related.
In the wash.
Oh, all right. Here we go. This is a good one.
John
Brockstar.
Yeah.
Hope for Justice, Human Trafficking. It's against it, right, John?
I was going to say, let's not support that.
Yeah. That actually, I know a guy here in Worcester that deals with that, and it's really, really sad when you learn how close to home it really is and what goes on in places you drive by every day, and you go, yeah, that back room, we shut that down, and you're like, are you kidding me? So really sad. So that sounds like a great one. If you want to send me the link, we don't have to go any further. That's perfect. Thank you. Send me some links on that, John. I really appreciate it. And we'll get that going. All right. We ready to get now? Let's.
We've got, Edward, just to go back to biking news.
Thunder Mountain.
he's
No,
been
I haven't.
Yeah, no, I assume that's Disneyland, isn't it? Thunder Mountain.
So I thought Big Thunder Mountain. It's the first thing that came to my mind.
If you can get
We
your
need
bike
Ara
it,
on.
I'll go.
Yeah. We need Ara on. He's the expert on Disneyland. He lives 2 minutes away.
No, I haven't done Thunder Mountain. I've done Moab. I've done pretty much everything in the Northeast. But if Thunder Mountain's in the Northeast, he's going to go, no, you didn't then. But yeah, I've done most of them. I started in the mid-90s, back before they were even running trail lifts for downhilling and stuff. But I downhilled on a cross-country bike. But anyways, all right, enough about that. We are well into it. We got a lot of stuff going here. Oh, a downhill park in Massachusetts. Ed, you're going to have to come on, and we're going to have to do a Takeover Tuesday, buddy. All right. Let's get to this. We've got John, is that your image first? No, I think that's Steve's. I don't know. Let's get it going here.
Oh, straight to it. Yeah, that's my one.
That's yours?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, there you go. Call it out, Steve. 'Cause we've got
This
a
is
bunch of
Master.
them.
Yeah, bearing in mind the character that's on screen, it should be, this is Masters of the Air. Because it just sounds like Elvis kind of throughout.
It was
and it's
brutal. So we all watched it. Bringing up the images now. And that's John's, and then mine. And what was cool is we all came up with different ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't that pretty
yeah,
cool?
so Masters of the Air then on Apple TV Plus in 4K UHD and in Dolby Atmos. Now, I sense there's going to be some disagreement here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not, I don't think in terms of the show, but I think in terms of the HD experience, I think there might be some disagreement.
Oh, you saw, because you saw my my message?
Yeah, well, quite. So in terms of the show, we're only 2 episodes in. There's another one coming Friday. And from my point of view, just jumping in, I mean, this is obviously the third of a sort of loose trilogy. You had Band of Brothers, and then you had The Pacific, both of which were excellent, multi-Emmy award-winning series. And then this is the third one, all from Playtone, Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, kind of producing them or exec producing. And so it's all about the bomber squadrons in World War II and kind of how it goes. And first episode, I was a little bit lukewarm on, a little bit. But the second episode was much better. And you kind of get to know the characters now. You kind of see who's who. Because otherwise they all look the same. You kind of struggle to know who's who. And by the time you get to episode 2, I think it starts to bed in. You know who the characters are. You know what's going on. You know some of the tension between them. And I genuinely enjoyed the second episode. So in terms of the way it's progressing, I think it's really good. And I'm looking forward to episode 3 of 9. I think it is not 10 like the others. It is 9, according to IMDb. However, I am disappointed with the home theatre experience thus far. Bear in mind, I have seen Band of Brothers many times. I've seen The Pacific many, many times. And those two are reference Blu-ray, DTS HD, Master Audio soundtracks. I mean, they're fantastic, both series. This one, the video is solid. It looks okay. The HDR is lovely. There's a couple of lovely shots through the wheels of the planes on the ground where you've got the sun coming up in the background, and so the HDR is lovely. It looks great, and the wider color gamut does as well. So the video's okay, but I'm disappointed in the audio so far. Now, I don't know if they're tinkering with it. I don't know if this will be a Greyhound thing where after some time it'll somehow seem better. But I think the bass on it is disappointing most of the time, not all of it, most of the time. And also, I think the general surround sound is okay, but it's not, I was expecting reference. I was expecting Tomorrow World, Extraction, Six Underground, because you look at Midway, which we might talk about later. And if you look at Midway, or if you want to know a sequence of this done well, then look at the start of a film called Unbroken, directed by Angelina Jolie with Jack O'Connell in it, which is on the Dolby Atmos demo disc I've got, and that has an absolutely barnstorming opening of a bomber being attacked by fighter jets and fighter planes, not jets, fighter planes. And it's all, and it sounds amazing. And they're zipping all over the place. And as they go over the top, you can feel the planes go over. And in this case, thus far, that doesn't happen, at least not for me. Right. And so I've been and I did bump it, like you said, Deej. And I'm glad you tweeted that, because I did put it up higher than I normally would. And it is better. But it's still not reference, and it's still not what I've come to expect from Apple TV Plus.
Exactly.
So anyway, so that's me. Well, okay. So I'm glad you said that, Deej, because I thought I was going to be the outlier here.
No, that's why I put that out. John, what did you think?
No,
How
I kind of agree.
Yours? Yeah,
I agree. I also bumped mine. I'm generally at -6. I went right to 0. To watch this, which I often do for streaming, anyways, because it's usually a little bit less than a disc would be. But yeah, I mean, again, the show I am really enjoying so far. Again, 2 episodes in, I don't think it's on par yet with Band of Brothers or The Pacific. But we'll see. We've got 7 more to go. But yeah, I just found it to be okay as far as the home theater goes. And like you said, not what we would expect from Apple, because they're generally very, very good. Again, and I don't want to jump ahead too much, but we are going to talk about something else in a bit. It's done a bit better. Now, again, but you're talking about a 4K disc as opposed to a stream. But
yeah, the thing is, and that's why I tweeted that out, is I went through the first episode and I was like, this just, it's not Apple quality, right? It's not what we've come to expect. And exactly like you said, Steve, it's like you can bump it up at least 6 dB. That's why I tweeted that out. And you're still, but all you're doing is, rising tides raises all boats, right? So it's like you're just raising the overall volume level. What they're missing is that dynamics of like, okay, here's a big boom, but then can it drop down to be quiet and then go back to the boom? Or even can the frequency go low enough? Or it's not just about volume. It's also about like, do we go below like 60 hertz and do we go as high, and how high do we go? Or is this like all like 150 in from 150 hertz to like 15,000 hertz, you know? And that's, it could be compression. It could be, I don't know. This is a first for Apple TV. It's like when I know and I mentioned it when John and I were talking about Family Plan, that was the first time I wasn't like, oh my God, reference sound and audio and picture. That was better than this. I will say I do really like the story. It's people are already saying in the chat, spoilers, they haven't seen it yet. Just came out. I understand.
Right, we're not talking about
it's about planes, and planes go up and planes come down. Sometimes they land, sometimes they don't. They get in dog fights. This is what's going on.
Oh, they always come down, Deej.
Yes, they do. What goes up must come down. That's the rule of thumb.
Yeah, it's not the Bermuda Triangle.
When it doesn't, it's didn't go so well. But what I did find is a lot of these things, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but I really enjoyed the backstory, and not the backstory in like each character, but the backstory to each mission. And and that's what I thought was real. Like the first episode is a lot of exposition. If you thought it was slow and you didn't give episode 2 a chance, go into episode 2 because they start to explain more about stuff you saw that you might have taken for granted in the first episode, right, guys? And you're like, oh, okay. And you just think it's just staging, right? Well, in the next episode, they tell you all about, they start getting into the nitty gritty, literally the nitty gritty. And I found that to be fascinating and something that we really haven't seen a lot of.
Even talking about, sorry not to interrupt, but like the setup. The setup of the prep for these missions.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like, yeah, which was pretty interesting to see some of that stuff.
That's what I mean, and showing that and like the hours it takes to do it, and then it's like, but it's kind of like making a movie, right? It's like the actor gets all the accolades, but at the end of the day, it's like there's a guy holding a mic, and if he holds it wrong, everything's wrong, right? There's a cameraman. If that's wrong, everything's wrong. There's a sound guy. There's all these working pieces to come into making I would say mission, but for anything in life like this, right? So that's what I thought. I think that's where this series I think is going to be really entertaining to me. It's a shame the audio and video, unless Apple TV thinks they're going to cash in on maybe a physical media version of it, and then they can be like, yay, but they haven't done it with Greyhound yet.
Right. No, I mean, I put it this way. So disappointed am I at the moment, knowing full well when you look at the credit sequence that there are clearly big battles to come. You've got the Tuskegee guys coming. I mean, his picture there. So you've got the Red Tails coming, and you've got all that stuff. So there are clearly some massive battles to come, and there's storms and all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure. So there's scope there for it to improve. Maybe they're lulling us into a false sense of insecurity. And perhaps they're going to actually kind of really push it with later stuff. Maybe, I don't know. But put it this way, so disappointed am I that if they said tomorrow, and bear in mind, I've been waiting years for this. I know it's been coming for a long time because they shot lots of this stuff not far from me.
In Spain?
And so no, from where I am now. They shot loads of Pearl Harbor. You know the Pearl Harbor Battle of Britain scenes? They were all shot literally 15 minutes up the road, up in the fields, up in Tetbury. And so I've known this has been coming for a long, long time, and I've been waiting for this. So, but if they said tomorrow, this is coming out in physical media next year, a year from now, I would stop watching this and I'd wait. Yeah. And that's how kind of flat I am at the moment on the audio. The video, as I said, is what you want it to be. It's all right. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I wish it was in 185 rather than 235, but that's just me. Because I just love it to fill the screen again, like the Pacific and like Band of Brothers. I was a little disappointed when I first saw it's 239. So I'm hoping they'll fix it. I'm hoping that either this is a build up to something bigger, or that maybe they're compressing it because of how popular it is at the moment, because everybody's watching this. So maybe they're like, look, we've got to row back on it a bit to make sure everyone gets a decent experience. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, but you know, who knows? Paul's fault.
So it's Paul's fault. Paul says some things have been my fault, yes, but not this one.
Can I just say though that talking about they missed the Christmas sales on bomber jackets. I have to say the jackets are cool. They are very cool. And if I didn't think I'd look a massive idiot in one, I would absolutely love one because they are cool.
Yeah.
We just blame DJ for everything. You can, absolutely. If I set your expectations too high, blame me for that. And then, but I think I got out on social media and tried to get a warning that, it's 6 dB, please. But it's a shame.
But like I said, go back and watch Band of Brothers. Go back and watch the Pacific. Funnily enough, episode 2 in both of them has got some massive bass and all around audio. And then, and as I said, if you want an aerial battle other than what we're going to talk about in a bit, then Unbroken, the starting, the opening sequence of that Jack O'Connell film is awesome. And I've got the Blu-ray of that, but with the Atmos soundtrack, and that is what this should have been. I was expecting, again, no spoilers, I don't think, when some planes take off and you're close, I was kind of hoping and expecting that when you're in those planes that it would feel like the room was vibrating, like you're in that plane. Some of the
guns? They had like literally right there in the. What I was hoping for is a little bit more realism out of, especially from Apple TV Plus, right? A little more realism of inside those planes, and give us that because they have an opportunity here with even streaming Atmos, you could still give us the really loud room because people what was the movie where people are talking in a helicopter and you're like, you can't hear, and they have no headphones on. When you take your headphones off in helicopters or these planes, you can't hear anything. It's deafening. And they're like, oh yeah, blah, blah. It's like they had an opportunity there, and then never mind like you said, the guns, those guys that are in those turrets, and they're like, and they're showing these guns up close. And I thought you were going to open with that, Steve. That's why I was like, all right.
Well, that's why I tried to go against type. I did think that. I thought,
so did I. And I was like, oh man, it's a shame because it's such an opportunity, but who knows if they come out. This is a great way to sell the physical version because we're like, I'm on it. Because I really like the battles. I'm liking the show. Yeah. I do like the story. It's, it could use some more dinosaurs though. Or monsters, that's about it. But other than that, it's really
and the kids are super annoying. But other than that,
don't say that. That was awful.
I'm struggling even now to think about any overhead effects. I think there was some of the flak. There was a little bit of that, but not much. And again, you've got planes. They're in formation. They're right above you.
Guys,
you should be able to hear
the Titans last week in 2.0 had more overhead appeal than this does.
Just weird.
And it was up mixed. And it was but it was so properly mixed that you were able to get it. This is just that there's a good opportunity missed here, but who knows? Maybe we'll get it. But this is the bright side. I still enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy. I can't wait for the next episode. I checked it.
I'm definitely invested.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Although I did watch it with someone
how Elvis makes out.
Well, that's what I and tell me, it isn't just me. He is just doing Elvis, isn't he? He sounds like
he
Elvis.
might just be doing him. Maybe Elvis was just him doing himself. Because
I'd heard.
I'll be honest. I thought he was great in Elvis. Now, not so much. I'm like, he didn't really act. It was like,
he's not. He doesn't sound like that. John, you guys are. Well, John in particular is a Kevin Smith fan. So Austin Butler was in Yoga Hoses, one of the first films he was in, and he talks completely differently in that, and that was his native accent. Now I've never seen Yoga Hoses. I couldn't quite bring myself to watch it.
I haven't either. That's the one. That's the one I haven't watched. The only one.
Well, quite. So because when he was
Tusk, right? It came after Tusk.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But Tusk is great. I like Tusk. But it was a funny story because Kevin Smith and his mum in particular are a huge Elvis fans, and so when Kevin Smith took his mum to see Elvis, she said to him famously, she said, "Oh, the guy that's playing Elvis is amazing," and he said to her, "Mum, You've had dinner with him. He was in yoga hoses. It's Austin. She, oh, is it? Oh, so she had no idea. But famously, he apparently now was doing Elvis for so long. He's now adopted the accent. He can't drop it. And so in this, you are now seeing that kind of adds some sort of veracity to those rumors because he sounds exactly like Elvis. So it's strange, but
yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, the character himself is like you know, like I feel like the personality it is giving off and the emotions that they're portraying, I felt like it works, but it's Elvis, right? It's like I'm like I didn't know, was Elvis in the Air Force? I know he was.
He went to the Army. Yeah, he went to the Army, didn't he?
Oh, was it the Army? I didn't know if
I think so.
Oh, yeah, and he spent some time in Germany, and that's about it.
Yeah, but not for World War II, right?
Not World War II. I know that.
Say, not for World War II.
I know that. I was just making a joke.
Okay.
All right, we've got some.
He was in the trenches.
VJM has some good information here. He says some of the shows on Apple TV Plus are mastered lower plus. They will have mastered lower plus. They will have dial norm offset 4 dB to 6 dB, so you could need to turn up the volume 10 dB or more than your normal level. And then
but if we hadn't listened to a show on Apple TV Plus before, then I would be, oh my God, that must be the answer. But we've all heard amazing stuff on Apple TV Plus and not had to do that. And again, as you say, DJ, if you still have to do it, just turning it up loud does not give you what you're actually after, which is the dynamic range and the movement of the audio and everything else. So it's a mastering error. It's a mastering choice.
Yeah,
shall we say, to have it not be as dynamic as we, I think, have got right to expect to a certain degree.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I'm bumping it the 6 dB. 7. I might have gone 8 on the second episode, but Joe is saying in the chat, we spoiled something. He's like, he goes, that feature of the type of plane they are in, spoiler free. See, I say spoiler free, and SH just came out with it. Who's SH? I don't know. Okay.
Not
he said DJ2. I'm like, DJ2, what'd I do?
SH is not me.
None of us.
You mean SG? SG maybe, and just hit the wrong thing. Is it next to H on the? Yeah, it's next to H on the keyboard. Maybe it's me.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that we spoiled anything, but
me neither.
It's not intentional. But I mean, this is a show where we talk about stuff
and planes. So. It's got planes and they're bombers, and there's also, I mean, all the planes we mentioned are in all the trailers. Right. So yeah.
Plus, it's World War II. You know, like it happened.
Yeah.
So, you know, we could go back and see that some of this stuff happened.
Was Patrick Stewart in that though? That's what I'm saying.
I know.
Was he?
Did you guys hear my Takeover Tuesday on that today?
What?
I meant
today?
to text you.
Yet.
I was pretty busy. I'll talk to you about it later. We don't need to rehash it on everybody now. Oh, the turret sounds. Yeah, those are in the trailers. All right, we ready for this next one? This brand new, just dropped. Can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, Joe's joking.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, go on.
This new show, Yellowstone.
Yeah. You're just getting onto that, huh?
Yes. So I'll tell you what happened is they put it out on CBS, right? Because they were hurting for content because of the strike. Right. So they put this out. And I happened to be flipping the channel and I came on this scene. And I swear to God, I like Westerns. I just wasn't in the mood for a Western show, right? So I'm flipping the channel and I realized, like, I didn't know what show I was watching, and all of a sudden I'm like, what is this? This looks interesting. And I'm like, I pull up the thing. I'm like, this is Yellowstone? They're in a high rise. This is like current day. I was like, what the heck? So I looked into it and I was like, that's it. I went back, watched episode 1. I'm up to episode 3 now. You can see on there. And I am this close to buying the entire collection on Kaleidoscape because it's on Peacock right now and it looked pretty good. But episode 1, episode 2, it's just, I love what they're doing with the story. I think it's fascinating how they wrote this. Have either of you guys seen this?
I've seen every bit of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I've watched
have not.
1883 and 1993 or whatever the heck it is. I've watched all of it.
Oh,
But I've only ever seen it on broadcast
Peacock.
TV. Yeah, I've never. Well, yeah,
Well,
I guess
it's all,
Peacock.
I think it's
I
always
mean, I
been.
watched it.
It was a
On
streaming
Paramount
show.
Network, I think, is where I watched it. So I don't. But
So,
I mean, I've never
right
watched
now-
it.
Plus, well, it's on Peacock. So
Yeah, but
that's what it
Paramount
is.
Network was part of like my cable
Right.
package or something.
Yeah.
And that's where it was. And then it might have gone to Peacock after I got rid of that, DirecTV. But yeah, I've never seen it on disc, obviously, in 4K or any of that. But I love it. It's a great show, I think.
Yeah. Jack Lee saying Yellowstone is so addictive, and it is. I was like, like, oh man, it's so good. It's
See,
so
I've
good.
never seen any of it, and I was toying with the idea of picking it up. So are you saying just buy it, Deej? Because I mean, I'll buy the whole thing rather than just mess around with one or two
You
seasons.
can't stream it. I would try the first couple of episodes, and then like right now, Kaleidoscape's having a sale. Like I can get everything, the entire package for like $80. All the seasons, all the movies, everything. But Peacock is looking pretty good. I watched the last two in my theater. The first one I watched upstairs. Kind of thankful that I did too, because there's a couple of scenes I didn't want to see on a big screen.
It's almost impossible not to like Steve if you think you want to watch it.
Yeah, I mean they've got
I would buy it.
Amazon have got the first, because you bought stuff on Amazon when I I recommended it. So Amazon have got like over here the first 4 seasons on Blu-ray for £64. So and I like westerns and all that stuff. And I mean Kevin Costner is absolutely amazing. Although in that picture, God, he looks like my dad. God, it's a spitting image of my dad. The absolute spitting image. He often does. It is, just looks just like him.
His character shocked me, John. It really did.
Well, it's a little bit of a departure for him.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's crazy out there. It's not like, but I mean, I think he's doing a great job of it. I think everybody is doing a great job of portraying their characters in a way that makes every single one of them, you can understand what they're doing, but at the same time, you're like, don't understand you're like, I see why you do it, why you don't do it, blah, blah, blah. It's awesome. The entire thing.
That Beth is a piece of work too.
Yes.
That daughter. Oh my God.
Well, and that's
you don't even know anything yet.
no, well, that's the thing is I just, whatever. She was the one that she was in the high rise or whatever, right?
Yeah.
In the episode that I saw, which is, I don't know what they were broadcasting. It was like seasons 5 or 4 with the latest one.
Right.
And I saw her and I was like, well, wait a minute. I'm like, this is Yellowstone? And of course, that's broadcast on CBS, so they don't do the swears. They don't have the gratuitous violence and stuff that goes on. So I went right to the stream, and then I met the daughter that way. So I'm going through, but I've already seen her, in the future.
Right.
But yeah, it is really good. And on Peacock, I got to tell you that the stream looks really good. The audio is very good. Almost to the point that I'm like, is it worth it? Is it worth the $80 to buy all of them? But I mean, if you buy one season, it's $40. But if you buy all of them, or I think it's like $30 or something. But because if you buy the package, you get it for $80, and I'm like, might as well.
I guess
buy
I would
it.
just wonder if it's something you're going to go through more than one time. Like if you're only ever going to go through it once, then I would just stick with Peacock, because the experience, it's not the type of show where you're going to get. Well, I would, yes, but I didn't buy Bloodshot
experience.
17 times. So
I'll buy it again. Somebody comes out
Back
with it.
over the net.
Speaking of which, did you hear the new? Well, I know you saw it, Steve. The new frame rate that Disney's coming out with.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was saving it for the show, but I think they're doing it just to sell televisions. It's an entire marketing campaign that's going to be like, here you go. No TVs right now are doing 48, frames per second. They do 60, and they'll do 120, but they don't do 48. So you got to go buy a whole new television, everybody, so you can get the 48, which I think is like, most people, like Steve, I'm with Steve on this one. Like, I'll do it, but I just think it's like, if you don't like, why couldn't they? That's why I think it's a marketing thing. Why couldn't they have just done this at 60, another 12 frames per second?
Yeah, I will not be buying a new TV for that.
won't, yeah.
I can assure you.
I know you won't.
Well,
I
won't,
will.
Yeah, yeah, you will.
I will.
If my device in the future supports that, then great. But I won't go out of my way to support it.
Well, and that's the other thing. Let's pull the Yellowstone down on this one. But that's the other thing about it, though, is that I don't see they're rolling it out with the Vision Quest thing or whatever Apple's
Apple
calling
Vision
that.
Pro, whatever
right?
it is, yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are going to go spend $3,000 so they can watch Avatar through this thing in 48, frames per second. And I don't think a lot of people are going to be like, I got to run out and get my new display so I can watch Avatar and I can watch, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough there to make people grab.
Well, especially when you bear in mind that Avatar in particular was not shot entirely in HFR. So,
No.
This was the problem I had with it in the cinema. It kept flicking between the two and driving me absolutely crackers. But I dislike it. I cannot watch it in that way. Yeah, bonkers, nuts.
I don't think there's enough market for it.
No, man.
When you consider that 80% of physical media sales are still DVDs, I don't think anybody's running out to buy an HFR.
Right.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah.
So the view from the chat as to whether I should get the 5 seasons or 4 seasons for 60 odd pounds. So Dominic says, wait. and is saying that it'll definitely be cheaper when they're all available. Says wait till the final season and it will be super cheap. So
next season, yeah.
Fair enough. And Jordan actually saying the same thing. So I'll wait to buy Yellowstone on Blu-ray when the final episode released. Yeah, fair enough. I'll buy it all in one go. It's what I did with Breaking Bad. We bought the whole thing and then just blasted through it in like about 3 weeks, which was great fun. Right. So we can do that. That's fair enough. Oh no, Jordan, do not mention what would probably really only benefit people that want to watch The Hobbit in that frame rate. Ooh, I saw the second one. I saw The Desolation of Smaug in HFR. It was dreadful, and yet much better when I've seen it multiple times since in 24 frames. I just don't get it.
The irony, I don't know. I don't know enough about the stuff, but they went to 30 because it's more compatible. It's easier for the, instead of the 3, 2, 1, whatever, pull down, because 24 is odd an odd number when it comes to seconds, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But if you go to 30, that's literally 30 frames. So it's more divisible. And then you go to 60 and then you go to 120. 24 was literally invented because it was the lowest number of frames to the human eye would perceive. If it was 20, they would have gone that far. If it was 23, they would have gone that far. If it was 30, they would have stopped there, right? But it was 24. There's no rhyme or reason for it. Kind of like, why is a foot a foot? What's 12 inches? I don't know. But there's no rhyme or reason for it. Now to go to 48 and double something that's already obsolete, that to me doesn't make sense. Now, I might be completely wrong. You might be able to, the experts might be able to tell me, oh no, 24 is divisible this way, and it makes more sense. It's easier to produce. It's all right, fine. But from what I know, I'm like, this seems weird. So
yeah, I mean, the only caveat that I would introduce to it is that we know someone who actually has seen Apple Vision Pro in the flesh and played around with it and seen the Disney stuff as well, giving away who it is without saying the name. And he says it is revelatory and says it's absolutely fantastic. And he's not one given to hyperbole normally.
Right.
So, we haven't seen it. So again, here's me saying I hate it, but I haven't seen it, not this way. And so if they fix the issues with it, then maybe, but I'm not going to spend $3,000 to find out. That's for sure.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when that thing's $1,500, maybe. But I'm not spending $3,000 on a VR headset.
I talked to Ara about it. I got to wait and see what it's like when it comes out. And there's a few quirks with it that I'm not crazy about. And Ara and I have been talking about it behind the scenes. We talked about it when he was on the show. I am super excited for it, but I'm not going to spend $3,000 unless he gets it. And he's like, Deej, this thing's amazing. We could have a lot of fun with the podcast with it. And then maybe I'll invest in it. But to me, I'm like, these things, that's not replacing our theaters at all. And I think the biggest detriment to that thing is that both Avatar movies are like 3 hours long. Right. And you're going to sit there with your inside this thing for 3 hours, separated from that's nuts. Nuts.
With your battery pack hanging off the side.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
this again from this particular person, what we all know. I understand it's proof of concept. This, as they have launched it, is not the final device, and so this will be a look. We had to get something to market really quickly. Here it is, but within a year, 2 years, it will be perfected. So again, I think dropping $3,000 on this would be silly because you're going to find something that's just not actually finished yet. You know, a separate battery pack for an Apple product? What?
Yeah.
So I think you'd be silly to buy it just yet. They're trying
that's
to
like
win a
all
race
the
that is
demo-
not finished yet.
Well, it hasn't even started. The gun didn't go off. They're trying to. They're like, it's just, yeah. That's the one part in all the demos that we keep seeing is they don't tell you about the interface of it to whatever's feeding it, and like you see the wire going down their back, but it's like, and then that audio is coming out right above your ears, so that means everybody in the room can hear that. Or for your privacy, you're going to have to put on your AirPod Maxes over this thing and then wear that. It's, I don't know. I see it to be very, very clunky. Maybe in a year or two, they'll come out with a streamlined version with as, you're still going to be wearing a damn helmet to get full immersion. But
Hey,
all right.
as long as it looks like one of the Star Wars blaster helmets and it comes
Yeah.
down, we'll all buy that.
Well, see, that's the thing is if they can do that and they do have Star Wars rights, they come out with we're all buying it.
Yeah.
Stormtrooper helmet.
We'll be like, here you go. This is what it looks like. It's got the blast. I can't see anything with the blast shield down. And now all of a sudden you can. You're going to look like Luke because nobody can see your eyes, but you can see the room. And you're going to be whorm, 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 and your lightsaber all over the place. And that was a euphemism.
I'm glad to hear that. Yes, because who knows what you're watching under that helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know John very well.
Yep. I run my lightsaber all the time.
Oh boy!
Just wait till the show's over, John.
There's a
Just wait till the
YouTube
show's
front
over,
right
please.
there.
Yeah, I might be doing it right now. Who knows?
All right, let's get to the next one. Oh geez! Oh, what happened there?
That was the next one.
Yeah. Why didn't it go to the stage? There we go.
Okay, so this is High Tension on 4K Blu-ray in DTS HD 5.1, otherwise known in its native tongue as Haute Tension, or indeed as it's been previously known as Switchblade Romance. How many names do you want for one film? Anyway, it's come out finally over here in 4K as High Tension, which is the proper translation of the French. So this is a French horror film. Fellas, ever heard of it? Either of you?
Nope.
Okay, true to type. All right, fair enough. It is
wrong button.
what is interesting about this. This is a film from Alexandre Arja, who went on after having directed this. This is one of his first films, and did films like Crawl, the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and things like that. So he's gone on to make schlocky, great, sort of gory B movies. And this is kind of his first go at it. So it's a French language movie about two 20-something females who go to stay on a remote farmhouse, and things start to happen. And I'm not going to give any more spoilers away than that, because to do that would really ruin it, and I'm not going to do that. It is a good film. It's not a great film, but it is a good one. And it's one that I'm glad I now own. I think I saw it on DVD years ago when it was still known as Switchblade Romance. And so now seeing it like this in 4K, DTS HD 5.1, obviously upmixed to Neural X, was great fun. With subtitles, Deej, I know you're not a fan after your Takeover Tuesday with Ara. But it is.
I did. Say
I know.
that
I'm winding. I'm kidding.
Accustomed to him, right? Yeah. Okay.
You did. I was only kidding. I was laughing and chuckling as you were talking about these, the kung fu movies with Ara about subtitles.
I was trying to be supportive of my guest.
You were diplomatic.
Yes. There you go. Thank you.
But it's fine. And again, the French subtitles in this are not a problem, because there are long periods of time where there's no dialogue. It's just, visceral things are happening. It's good. It is a tense movie. There are some good things that go on in it. It's messed up, it's violent, it's gory, it's graphic, but it's never boring. And again, it's nice and short, 90 odd minutes, on and gone, it's all good. So well worth seeing. I've no idea if it's going to come out over there or not. It's been released by, I think it's Second Sight over here. And it's kind of notwithstanding the fact it's a French movie, it just seems to be a very European movie. So I don't know if it will cross the pond. If it does, I'd recommend it for those that are like these kind of B movies. I'm going to talk about another one a bit later, which was a Todd Anderson recommendation. But this is, it is good and well worth seeing. And if you like these kind of movies, as I do, and if you haven't seen it, then seek it out. And again, I don't know whether it will be under Haute Tension, High Tension, or Switchblade Romance. You might have to search for all of those. And then if you find it, give it a go.
I don't think
and then
I
let
can
me know what you
spell
think
all
of
of those.
Well, Switchblade Romance is all right. But Hot Tension is Haute, and then Tension is the same. It's just pronounced Tension because it's French. Yeah. So, but well worth seeing. And you can see when you see this, by the way, how it is he went on. You can see him putting techniques in place that would then be used for movies like Crawl, The Hills Have Eyes, movies like that, where a lot of the techniques he uses in this have been expanded upon in the later movies. So, recommended this one. It's a solid film. Yeah, there we go. Dominic's saying it again. They are. Good old Dominic. Thanks, mate. And Dominic would be our expert on this because he's en France. So we'll definitely take Dominic's spelling of that. No problem at all. Have you seen it, Dominic? Oh, yeah. Sorry, he's in the chat. There we go. Bought the German 4K Blu-ray. Buying the French 4K comes out in March. There you go. So, but very, very good. Really, really good. And well worth seeing.
Nice. All right. Pull that down. We got a couple of comments here. Say hi to Vibe Home Media. He's like, I press play. Here I am. Chuckles.
Don't be tempted to put up Jordan's comment. Jordan, that's a little bit of a spoiler, mate. I was staying well away from that.
Okay.
So don't be tempted to put that up. Okay. Yeah, I was not going near that.
Yeah.
Not after the mist.
Yeah, Paul getting back to the frame rate. And he's like, as I understand, 24 frames per second was the slowest frame rate that looked smooth. That's what I was saying, yeah. Though there was a standard for 18 frames per second on 8mm to make film last longer. And that was the entire goal. Like, it was to make it last longer. It's cheaper, less film. It's the less frames you need, the better off you are. The less film you need to make a movie. So, but yeah. All right. Let's see. What else do we got here? Live. All right. It didn't edit itself. Okay. All right. I tried to edit these to 16:9, but all right. You ready for yours? Ready for this one, John?
Sure.
Here we go. I'm interested. I can't wait to hear what you think of this.
What is it?
You'll see.
Oh. All right. Yeah. So this was Griselda. Which was on Netflix. This was a limited series. So it had Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. This stars Sofia Vergara, and it is, I guess, somewhat based on the life of like a real life drug queen pin, I guess you'd call her, in the 80s in New York. She was, basically the Pablo Escobar of the United States in the 80s. I say very loosely based because I did some digging after the fact, and not to give any spoilers away, but comments come up multiple times in this series that Griselda is only able to do some of the things she's able to do because of her appearance. And the real life Griselda does not resemble Sofia Vergara in any way. So
not many people do.
Yeah. So I don't know how accurate some of that is. But this, it's a drama, and there are, as you would expect, some shooting, some gunfights and things like that do take place. But this is largely a drama. So it did not really have a lot of the like the heavy Atmos effect in it. But what it had was well done, I think. Like, this didn't necessarily blow me away, but it was good. Like, I thought the picture was excellent. Like, the image quality was really, really good. But the sound, again, I don't want to compare it back to Masters of Air because I wasn't expecting that much from this. But this didn't really do anything that stood out to me. Even some of the, shootouts with the machine guns and things like that just didn't really seem to hit very hard. But the show itself is enjoyable, like for what it is. I mean, if you're into rooting for somebody that's not really a good person, and this is your type of thing, it's definitely worth a watch. Like, I did find it interesting because this is not something like I'd never heard of this woman. Like, everybody's heard of Pablo Escobar and, the drug cartels in Colombia and all of that. I've never heard of this woman. But she was pretty prolific in her time in the United States. So it was an interesting story. And the way she came to be, I almost think, did you watch Queen of the South, DJ? I know we talked about that a while back.
Jen and I started that one.
Feel
we got
like
yeah,
that was based on her somewhat, but it never, like, I haven't been able to corroborate that in any way, but the stories do seem fairly similar. Like, again, she's a woman that leaves Colombia, in distress and builds her, picks herself up from nothing and builds.
Didn't Queens of the South, though, didn't she like take over? Like, she took it over from her husband or somebody?
She did,
like,
yeah. Well, and that's, again, I don't want to give away too many
yeah.
spoilers, but I mean, obviously she was in that world in Colombia. You don't just come to Miami and decide to pick up cocaine. Obviously she, she was involved in that lifestyle already.
Right.
And like I said, they may not be related at all, but I did have that, like, while I was watching this, I kept thinking that it was amazing to me that, like, nobody's done this story prior. And I was thinking maybe that was somewhat based on it. But yeah, like I said, it's a watch. Like, it's worth the 6 episodes if you like this, these kind of shows. I do. Like, I like Narcos. I like all that stuff. So this stuff is interesting to me. And like I said, it's Netflix. It's well done. But it wasn't anything to write home about as far as the HT experience goes. Honestly, I only added it to this to talk about today because I didn't have anything else, because I spent the whole day binging this. Like, if I had something like that was more substantial to talk about, I probably wouldn't have even added this to the list because it just really doesn't have an HT element to it.
Jen and I started it, and it didn't. We got like halfway into the second episode, and we were like, "This is kind of slow," and we didn't.
It does start out.
Pick up for
it
us.
does start out slow, and when you think that it's only 6 episodes, it's a bit before she comes in. Like, she has a lot of trouble getting started. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, well, maybe this is going to be multiple seasons or something, because. But once she gets going, it ramps up pretty hard and fast.
Okay.
And
all right, we'll continue then.
Yeah, if you're interested, give it a little bit more. But it does take her a while to get set up. Let's put it
was really slow, and we started it upstairs in the in the living room, and we were just like, "What the?" And like you said, there's really not a lot of home theater here.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily something I would move down. I wouldn't move down to the theater for it necessarily.
Yeah.
You could keep watching it up in the front room or in the living room or wherever you are.
Yeah. But. Cool. All right. We got a lot more going on in the chat over there about for. Let's see, 24 frames per second. John Thompson is saying it's more. 24 was the best for the slowest speed for optical soundtrack. So it was like, and then Paul's saying 16 and 18 are super jerky looking. But then later on, and Paul's like, I can't find it now, but Paul's like, you're right. Oh, there it is. He goes, Google says I was partly misinformed. Being here is educational. So there you go. We need to make a T-shirt. Being here is educational.
In the education.
Yep. It's more that we're just idiots. Oh, wow. Sky's blue. Didn't know that yesterday. All right. This next one here, I'll be fairly quick, but I really, really enjoy this. So, Shooter, 4K. I don't remember if it was Atmos or not. I'll be honest with you, I forget. It sounded awesome. Loved this. I hadn't seen it on Kaleidoscape yet, but I own not as many as Bloodshot, but I own multiple versions of it. Really enjoyed this movie. Loved the snowy scene. Loved the stuff like that, and it's it's a little far fetched, of course, but whatever. It's still entertaining shooting movie, action movie.
If it helps, Tej, the 4K disc, which I've got, is in DTS HD Master Audio 5.1. So I think it's probably the same.
Yeah, I would guess that too. Let me see. I could look that. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to bother. I don't want to ruin my computer here, but yeah, it sounds really, really good. I mean, the gunshots sound good. The birds flying sound good. All of the, I mean, the visuals, the 4K HDR looks really, really nice. I mean, it's a fun action movie. Like I said, far-fetched, but lots of fun. The HDR, like I said, in those snow scenes were really cool. I really like that. And then some of I've seen this on on my big screen before. Maybe not at the 110. Maybe the last time was before I had the 110. I don't know. But it did seem a little bit more detail in some of the gore that was going on in this. But have you guys seen this? Have you seen it lately in your theater?
Not lately. I have not seen it in quite some time.
Yeah, I've seen it in 4K because I've got the 4K disc. And this is a series of books, isn't it? This was supposed to have been a little bit of a franchise. I mean, this in some ways, I mean, anyone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was a proto Jack Reacher. This was kind of a lone gunman on his own, righting wrongs and doing all this stuff. And then, and in a similar vein, excuse me. What I don't know is which came first.
I want to say this came before Reacher, because this was I like 06 or something. It was a while ago. It was old. Yeah. It's an older movie.
But those Reacher books go back.
Oh yeah.
Decades.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right,
so
I'm saying in the theater though. But this came before the Reachers came in the theaters.
But
yeah, if this was supposed to be the beginning of like a Jack Reacher type story, they really didn't do enough of a backstory on him. If he was supposed to be, it's like they gave you a little bit and good action, which I think is great. It's a good standalone movie. If they wanted to continue it, maybe they could give some more backstory in the second one. But yeah, it's even, you remember right at the beginning, it's not a spoiler, everybody, but when he feeds his dog, and he puts it in his mouth, the cat, and his dog comes up and he does this. So I started training my dog how to do that, my little dog, Franklin. And my other dog, I can't because the husky's got a bad hip. We got to have surgery. But I got a cut just the other day right here. Split my lip right there. I don't know if we can pull it up on the camera. It's pretty bad. I was like, and I knew it had happened. And I'm like, all right. And you get down, I'm training him and he's enjoying it. But I did it just because of the movie. And as soon as it cut, I was like, dumbass. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen.
I thought you were going to say you were training your dog to be a sniper. Well, that is clever.
No. Yeah. No.
We'll never suspect
Kill the president. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Afterwards, I mean, obviously the police will have a few leads afterwards. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, Dominic's saying in the chat, he's like, yeah, The Accountant was a great movie as well. Yes, I absolutely love that movie. Many times I've almost sat down, like back when I was doing the show by myself, just to do that, because my wife and I love the movie. It's a great home theater experience, and I believe it's it's just in DTS Master Audio as well, even the 4K. I'm pretty sure. I don't think that one's in Atmos, but it is a great home theater experience. It's a little lacking on the action. It's more cerebral, obviously, and we also like the idea, because it's dealing with autism and stuff too. So that's pretty cool. But Shooter was really good.
The 4K disc of The Accountant, because of course I've got that as well, obviously, is in DTS HD 7.1.
7. There you go.
Yeah, there
nice.
You go. So,
yeah.
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 Okay.
It is. That one's. Is that the same? Is that the same girl? I think it is. Kate Mara?
Anna. Kate Mara. No, isn't it? Anna Faris is in The Accountant, isn't it?
Okay.
I might be right. I don't know.
Yep.
Actually, no, you might be right, Deej.
Kate Mara is in the Shooter. Shooter.
Yeah,
But I don't know if it was the same one. It's somebody. They look alike.
Yeah. I think you're right. I don't think it is Anna Faris, because she's the comedian, isn't she? She's not really doesn't do.
No, but you might be right though. She was in like Anna Faris, isn't she in the those movies of
Anna Kendrick?
Anna Kendrick. There you go.
No,
yeah, she's the singer that's in like the movies I saw with my daughter. Yeah, Anna Kendrick. Dom had it. All right. Steve had Emma Kendrick, so he's so close. On Jeopardy, it would have been wrong. But yeah. All right. We ready for Steve, you going to be good? Can you do this?
Yeah, sorry,
one?
man. I just a tickle in my throat. Yes, come out of nowhere.
You got a cough button going there. And you're back
yeah.
Forth.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's do this.
You ready? Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is The Creator on 4K Blu-ray and in Dolby Atmos, which I watched this week. It's very cool. This is now the second time that I've seen the film. The first time I watched it, Deej, close your ears, please. Just turn off your microphone, okay, or your headphones. I watched it on my phone. Oh. Anyway, so apologies for that. But I watched it on my phone. Sounds about right. Yeah, I know. I watched it over a few days because I had heard mixed things about this film. Some had said it was really good, some, and including those involved in the making of it, and some had said it's not that good. And so I was unsure, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to watch it just over a few days while I'm here, there, and everywhere and see if I even like the premise of it. And I did enjoy it, and I thought it was good, and it was enough, even on the phone, to kind of draw me in. And so this was now seeing it in properly 4K and Dolby Atmos. The film's great. I really, really like this movie, and I don't quite get the kind of the apathy towards it. It kind of came and it went, and some people were saying, "Oh, it's nonsense," and they just dismissed it. And yet, I think this film is really, really well done. And in terms of the story, I think is beautiful, and there's depth to it, and there is subtlety to it, and so there's a really nice emotional center to it, and around that you've got a really cool sci-fi kind of story and a really good world building as well. And I love the effects work on this. I love the kind of the design of the AI kind of robots. I mean, you can see one of them in that picture there. I mean, always those ones make me think of sort of Short Circuit. Yeah. But there are loads of really cool world building, some really nice effects work and all that stuff. And again, knowing how unusually it was made, they shot the movie on a shoestring and then went back and basically just added the effects afterwards, in someone's bedroom, as I understand it. But you'd never know it. It still looks great. So the story's brilliant. The audio video also is really, really nice. Now, there's been some controversy about the video. Lots of people talking about it. The whole thing was shot digitally, and there's lots of talk about problems with the grain levels and artificial grain, and there's been people moaning about it. I did not bump into that. I didn't have a problem with it. Admittedly, only on a tiny 75-inch screen, but I didn't have any issues with the grain on it. I thought it was perfectly fine, and I am someone who sometimes does have issues with artificial grain. When I saw Nobody, I had some issues with the inconsistency of that, but this did not bother me in this at all. I thought it was perfectly fine, and I think the Atmos track is great on this. There is some really nice sequences in this. The guns. There we go. Sound good?
Yeah.
Although it's a bit odd, isn't it? laser guns that fire light, and yet they're going boom, 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 which is a bit weird. But anyway, let's just take that aside.
Right. But
It's
and
cool.
I thought of you when I saw this because I thought the exact same thing. And I'm like, Steve is going to love this. And I saw this
yeah.
months ago, right?
Yeah, you
And
did. Yeah.
I absolutely thought of you. And I also thought I was laughing because I love the idea that, like, in Halo, you're like, it's a Gatling gun, and it doesn't sound like a Gatling gun, but it's in space. It just looks like a Gatling gun. It's like, but here you are, you get your laser gun sounding like the Gatling gun, sounding so good, and you're like, I'll take it.
Yeah, done. It's great. Well, the various weaponry in this sounds great. I mean, I love the dusty bin bombs. You know, the kind of, you know, the trash cans. Sorry, not bins, trash cans. You know, with on the legs. You know, that run. I absolutely love those. I would love a maquette of one of those in the cinema room. So I think it's great, and I really enjoyed the audio. There is some very deep bass in this. You know, when Nomad goes off, I mean, that's in the first couple of minutes, you know, it goes really deep, almost Oppenheimer deep, in fact. You know, when on the first couple of kind of drops, you're like, whoa, and you can feel that kind of that feel, the vibration in the floor. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's way better than people give it credit for. And I think if you're like me, and I don't mean you, Deej, because you've seen it, but John, you know, if you haven't seen it, and anyone listening or watching, if you're on the fence like I was, just get it. Because it really is, it's intelligent sci-fi, but with nice emotional center to it. And it looks great, but sounds fantastic. So yeah, I really, really recommend this. I thought it was great.
I mean, it's a very good movie, but it's a great home theater experience. So I don't think, even from the home theater experience, maybe you don't like the movie. I think that's where the polarization is like some people are just like, that was awful. It's too much. I don't get it. Well, if it's awful and it's too much, how do you not, you know, it's like, but I think that's where the people are complaining. I haven't heard anybody say that the home theater part wasn't very good. Maybe the grain, like you said, but even that, it's like the sounds, it's such a fun experience too. I mean, just sitting there watching this, that's what I told you. I'm like, this was so close to being one of my top, you know, 3. Because I couldn't knock anything out. But it's any other year, you don't know. It was that good, and like you said, the bass, the you know, the dynamics of the sound in this are really, really good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, there's cool where you've got robots jumping over characters that are on the ground, and that goes right over the top and over the overheads, and you know, and all the kind of atmospherics as well. And it's also very funny at times as well. It's a really, really good movie, this one. And I feel a bit sorry for Gareth Edwards because I think he's been. Whereas with Rogue One, there's all kinds of scuttlebutt about what happened with that film. But this is a Gareth Edwards movie, and yet it feels like he's been a bit shortchanged with this. It just seems to have come, made no kind of impact, and gone. And it'll be forgotten about. I think this time next year, if we were like, well, remember the creator, I think most people will be like, the what? And I think, which is a shame because it's great. Yeah. So
it'll be fun to revisit in like a year or two and be like, oh yeah, here we go. And you'll take in even more. So yeah, definitely.
Have you seen it, John? Did you see it in the theaters? Or?
No, I haven't seen it. And I was kind of on the fence. So I did.
I think you'll get a kick out of it.
I added it to my cart. Well, I added it to my cart while we were talking. So my cart is growing during the show.
My cart floweth over.
See, like 4 movies in it right now.
Yeah, man. But it will be one though that, John, because I think that this is where you'll benefit, and so will everyone who's on the fence about it, because it came and went. It'll drop like a stone price wise very quickly, and you'll be able to pick this up for an absolute song. So I'll be curious to see what you make of it. I think you'll really like it. So yeah, nice. All right, good. But yeah, recommend it.
Nice. All right. The next one we got going here. John, you're up. Here we go.
Do we have to?
Why? Yes, we do.
It's not The Fifth Element, Steve.
I know.
All right. So this was Midway. The 4K disc of Dolby Vision for me, Dolby Atmos. This first time watch for me. I wasn't sure if I had seen this movie or not. 5 minutes into it, obviously I knew I had never seen it. And let's see. I'm going to come down. I think I'm going to come down in the middle of both of you here.
Goldilocks.
I did not love this movie, but I didn't hate it. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again, but I thought it was okay. Like I went into it, expecting to really dislike it based on some comments on the show, but I didn't. I do think that it has a lot of story problems. There are, without giving away any spoilers, there are characters and storylines that you just completely disappear in the movie and you never hear from them again until some end credit explanations on what happened to certain people. And I don't think Ed Skrein, if that's pronouncing his name correctly, is a leading man in any sense and should not have been tapped to carry this movie because I don't think he's very good. So the movie is the movie. Again, a lot of people have seen it. I thought it was okay. I don't know that I'll see it again. Visually, I thought it was okay. There are problems with the CGI that kind of bugged me, but there are some shots that look stunning, like that look really good. But audio-wise, this is fire. Like this movie, this disc is phenomenal audio-wise. Like this thing now. I'm fairly new to the Apple Watch. I've bought my watch about a month ago. I've watched many movies since. This was the first movie to trigger my watch multiple times, telling me my environment was too loud. This thing shook the house. Like it is an audio experience. And if I ever watch this movie again, it'll be for that. Because I think the audio is that good.
Yes.
But again, movie-wise, story-wise, I didn't love it. But I don't think I disliked it as much as Steve did.
Well, that's the thing. And it's like, I probably came down right where you are, John, until I watched the extras. And I did this one.
Okay,
Steve knows,
I haven't done that.
Way back. This was one of the first ones in 2020, like early 2020, right, Steve? And it was
late 2019, early 2020. It was really early,
right? And
pre-lockdown.
It was. I had already done Universal Soldier earlier on as a standalone show, and that's Roland Emmerich. I did this one, Roland Emmerich, and I don't think I'd done any other Roland Emmerichs yet. But anyways, watching the extras on this and hearing the commentary that he gives, you will forgive the entire storyline. I'm telling you, because it was a passion project of his that he'd been trying to make since the 90s.
Right.
And and when you hear him talk about it, you can see how this thing gets pigeonholed into it. But you also understand this is Roland Emmerich. He just loves to make disaster movies. He loves to make home theater movies for us. I mean, he took the moon and scraped the earth with it, for God's sakes. It's like, this is so much more realistic than Moonfall.
Right.
It's like, and anybody that thinks that's a spoiler of Moonfall, it is the title. It's like, I mean, that is so, but what's funny is I was so excited about this movie when I watched it. And this is like back when I was doing these by myself. And this is how Steve and I really, basically became friends. It was like, he came out and was like, you are wrong, blah, 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 blah. And we had conversation. He goes, this looked awful. And everything you're saying, John, about like the CGI and stuff, that's what Steve was talking about. Like a week later, I sat down and watched it again with Joe, but now I'm seeing it through Steve's lenses, and I'm looking at the CGI, and I'm like, damn it, he's right. Yeah. It doesn't look good, but it's so forgiving because the audio is so good. I don't even care about the story. Just you get the planes to a battle, whatever story gets them there, it's awesome. Those dive bombings, it's awesome.
Well,
I think it's better than Maverick, to be fair. Some of these scenes are absolutely amazing.
I was just saying, I struggled a bit earlier when we were talking about Masters of the Air because these kind of ran together for me. And I was trying to think about, okay, did this scene happen in Midway, or did this scene happen in Masters of the Air? But like some of the things that were lacking in Masters of the Air were definitely present here,
Yes.
and like you felt
deep
these
bass.
planes. Yeah. Well, but I mean, you felt these planes,
Yeah.
like you felt like they were moving and they were in your room, and
The
kind of
close-ups
what you
in the
hoped
cockpit.
Masters of the Air was going to be.
Right.
But yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. I watched it on Kaleidoscope. I was just like, oh God. It's like I saw you were doing it, and I went in. And I grabbed.
Did you
some
watch it
scenes.
again? Yeah.
Not the whole thing. I didn't have time for that. I wanted to, but then I'm like, I gotta watch these scenes and like those dive bombings, and then the skimming the water, and just all of the. Oh my God! And it actually, and that's why I said I'm like, this is rivaling Maverick, because they had the tight shots in the cockpit. They had those, like everything that we got in Maverick, and this was years before. And he, I think he made this for like 50 million or something like that. I think the budget on
50
it
or
was
60. Yeah, it was, it was a
very,
low one.
very low. And he's like, it would have cost him in the 90s. It would have cost him like over 150. And he's like, he just kept putting it off until he could do it. So, but yeah, yep. So. Glad you enjoyed the audio.
I do need to give it another go. I will when I can dig it down from the attic. Unfortunately, everything is in just bags and bags.
Say
up
that
in the attic.
again. While we have you on solo, what movie
No, I've
we're
said
talking
to.
about?
I would. Yeah. Midway. Yeah. No, I'm prepared to do this. I'm not prepared to ever watch The Fifth Element again. That's where I draw the line. But with Maverick, but with Midway, I will. If I can find next time I'm taking some discs up into the attic, I will have a hunt around and see if I can find it. Not too much of a hunt around, but I'll have a little hunt around.
Unless it's laying right on the top, I'm not going to find it.
With a big sign like pointing at it. But I'll have a little hunt and see if I can see it. Bear in mind, there's about 2,000 discs up there, and they're all in various bags. But if I can see it at some point when I'm sorting it out, then I'll dig it out and rewatch it, and salute Deej every time it starts, every time Ed's screen comes on. I mean, my problem with the CGI being flat. Again, there are shots off the bow of the carrier that are just they look like they're in a video game. But also Ed's screen, the man does my head in, and he was not good. He's got that grin on his face that makes you want to punch him. Yeah. And that works very well for Deadpool when he's a bad guy. And it kind of works more in Rebel Moon because he's a bad guy. But in this, he's supposed to be an all-American hero, and you just want to punch him. I'm on the side of the Japanese every time I see him.
No, and again, like, trying not to spoil. Again, trying not to give spoilers because I've been called out for that before. But there are scenes in this movie where military people are being asked to do something, and they act like they have a choice in the matter. Like I just don't think I'm going to do that. Like this is an officer and he's telling you you're going up or you're going to do this or you're going here. And they're like, I just don't know if I can do that.
Right.
Having been in the military,
let me think about it.
You don't have that option. So that also irritated me. But I don't know.
Oh, I love your military stories.
Well,
John does not like to take orders. he went into the military.
Wasn't a long stint, but
no,
a weekend
camp. It was.
Remember
that
it
was longer than a weekend.
You had to do what they told you to do. That much I remember.
Yeah. Let's just tell the story. We've got enough segues today, anyways. The bayonet story.
Oh yeah.
You gonna tell it, or you want?
Yeah. So obviously we were in. I was in the Army, for those that don't know, and this was basic training, and it was like I guess sort of combat weapons training, and they were teaching us how to use a bayonet on the end of our rifle if we ever found ourselves in the position to have to do that. And what their instruction was is that sometimes if you stab somebody hard enough with your bayonet, it could be hard to pull it back out. So their recommendation was to fire off a round so that you could loosen up the area and pull the knife out. And I think my response was something along the lines of, if I still have rounds in my rifle, there's not going to be any bayonet fighting. So many rounds of push-ups later, I learned that you just kind of kept your mouth to yourself or your comments to yourself. But
and it was at that moment that 4-star General Cerconi ended.
Yeah, it was not to be. So.
Oh my God. When you told me that story, it was like, it was basically, you said the exact same thing, except for you had it like, wait. And like, I could just picture him standing there, because I'm thinking the same thing. Like, wait a minute. It's like, Sean's like, wait. I got rounds in my gun? Yeah. There ain't going to be no bayonet fight, is what he says. I was crying. I still laugh every time I hear that. I cry when I think of that story because it's so true. I'm like, what are you wasting? And John even acted it out like, bang. It's like, what am I doing? Oh God!
Yeah,
there are others. There are
a few others, but that's the one that still.
So, how long did you have to serve in the military stockade before they let you out, John? After taking the Mickey so many times,
they didn't throw me out of basic. Let's put it that way.
No.
Were you at any point subject to a code red?
No.
Okay, sorry.
No.
But we don't need him on that wall.
No.
We don't want.
You don't need me on that wall. You don't need. He can handle the truth.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What's the next one here? Oh, here we go. This is a interesting one. Let's get right to this. Oh, why does it? There we go. The Good Shepherd. So, who has seen this?
I don't think I've seen
Not
this.
me. Never heard of it.
So, The Good Shepherd with Matt Damon. Robert De Niro directed it. I think it came out
Definitely sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's from 2006. 2006, I'm pretty sure. Damon, Angelina Jolie, Alec Baldwin, Billy Crudup, a young Billy Crudup, De Niro. And like I said, De Niro directed this. Timothy Hutton is in it. It's, oh my God. I had never seen this, but my dad calls me up and he's like, I just saw The Good Shepherd. And I was like, is that the one with Matt Damon? He goes, yeah, the Boston guy that's friends with Affleck. I was like, yep, that's Damon. I was like, okay. And he's like, it's the early days of the CIA and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Just that alone, I was like, that's not even, it is that, but there's so much more. And Damon is so good in this. It's really, really good. As a home theater experience, I would say the image, you want to watch this on as big a screen as possible. It's definitely a drama. There's not a lot of action. I wouldn't say the sound just is like, oh my God, you can't wait to hear the DTS Master Audio 5.1. It's like, it's not that. Everything is perfect, crystal clear. Everything was great on Kaleidoscope. I love it. The disc is probably just perfect as well. But the big screen and the acting that goes on between these people, there's one particular scene where Matt Damon he is very stoic throughout this entire thing. He's a CIA guy, and early on before they had CIA, but everywhere he goes, he's just he says nothing the entire movie, but the acting that he does. And that's why I'm saying, see this on a big screen, because there's this one particular scene, and I'll put myself in. He's sitting at a table and his fingers are like this, and he has no emotion through the entire movie. And something is said to him, and you just see him go. And you're just like, that's him showing emotion. I thought it was awesome, because you're like, and it was an emotional scene too, that any one of us would go, what? And he just moved his finger, and you're like, but it's the little things like that and how he moves through this movie that's just, I mean, it is a pretty emotional movie too. But I wouldn't say this is a home theater movie, but I would definitely see this in your home theater because it's definitely like cinema worthy. It's that good. Like people talking about The Godfather and stuff, like you want to see these on the big screen. And if you've never seen this before, definitely see The Good Shepherd on the big screen. So, but yeah, I'd heard of it. We all knew of it, especially when it came out with all the I mean,
there's a lot of stars in this.
Exactly. Exactly. So we knew about all of that. I remember the trailers for it. I remember everything about it. I don't know how I missed it. And then my dad's like, I just saw it. It's really good. I'm like, I mean, he never sees anything. When he calls me up to see something, it's like, gotta go.
Right.
So, all right. Let's see. Pull that down. What else do we got here? Oh, there you go. This is Steve, I believe.
Steve, I believe. Right then. So this is the 1973 horror classic, Don't Look Now. Now, have either of you guys seen this? Heard of this?
Never
watched
heard
this?
of
No.
Okay. Now, interestingly, this is a horror classic. Okay, and if I tell you that on IMDb it currently has a rating of 95 out of 100 in terms of the reviews, this is an absolute, stone cold classic, which I had never seen until the day before yesterday, much to my eternal shame, by the way, because this is to a lot of people like The Exorcist in terms of its kind of positioning in the pantheon of classic horror movies. And it stars Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie, who are a couple who, I mean, it's not a spoiler because it's on the back of the box and it's in the trailer and it's the first few minutes of the film. They lose their daughter.
It also looks like where they filmed the beginning of The Italian Job.
Yeah, it's in Venice. Yeah, it's most in Venice. Yeah, quite. Yeah, not the old one. So their daughter passes away, and they are obviously traumatized as a result of that. And then it cuts to them in Venice trying to deal with the aftermath of it. And as the story unfolds, they may or may not be experiencing visions. They may or may not be experiencing the ghost of their daughter, and on it goes. And the movie then unfolds. Now, I'm still wary of spoiling it, even though this movie is older than I am. But I'll be careful with it. Most people
looks 70s from that.
Oh yeah. I mean, 9.9 times 9.9 of the number of the people that see this out of 10 would have seen it and will know what it is. But I'm not going to spoil it. It does have an infamous sex scene in the middle of it, in as much as the sort of rumor for a long time was that Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie had actually had sex, that this was not a pretend thing, that they'd actually done that. And when you see the sequence, you can see why the rumor
I hadn't heard that,
sort of
actually.
took hold.
I just didn't know this was that movie.
Yeah, this is the film. Yeah, so it's an infamous scene in it. But I mean, it's not true. They didn't. But, that was the rumor for a long time. It's a very, very interesting film. It is very 70s. I mean, there's no getting away from that. It is, and so it does pull back on how it kind of presents the story because of that. It reminded me of The Omen and movies like that in terms of its look and its kind of feel, more so than The Exorcist. I think The Exorcist is just in a box all on its own, isn't it? Whereas this sort of film did remind me very much of The Omen and the way in which it kind of unfolds, not with such religious overtones, but just the way how it presents itself. Very interesting film. I'm so glad I've seen it, and I'm really glad that I've got it in my collection. Now, it's on 4K disc, and it's on the Studio Canal Vintage Classics label. So it's 4K HDR. It's in Dolby DTS HD 2.0 stereo. But as we've said before, that doesn't really matter because with movies like this, they're not meant to be seen in surround anyway. But I upmixed it to Neural X, and you wouldn't really know that that's what's going on. In terms of its presentation, it really does look how you'd want a movie of this type and of this era to look. It looks how, this is the way I was kind of rationalizing it to myself. It looks how I remember seeing movies like this.
Yeah.
In the late 70s, obviously not in 73, I wasn't born, but in the late 70s, films like The Omen, movies like Rosemary's Daughter, that kind of, or Rosemary's Baby, films like that, it had that kind of the very kind of hyper colored look to it. And in this film, red is a very important color for lots of different reasons, and that absolutely leaps off the screen. It looks amazing. And all of the various kind of, you can see some of that in that picture, the walls and the dilapidated state of the buildings and all this stuff is all, because it was shot on film, is all kind of preserved. So it looks exactly like I'd want this sort of movie to look. It hasn't been scrubbed clean, but it's not also just, with print speckles all over the place either. It looks really nice. And it sounds fine for what it is. It's not a sound-driven movie. So I was really, really pleased with this, and I think if you're in the market for an absolute horror classic, an icon of horror in the 70s, as I said, up there with The Exorcist and movies like that, then it's worth seeking out. I don't know if it's going to come out in the US. I don't know if it's already out in the US. I suppose it could be, but I'm really glad I've seen it
now.
Yeah, have a look. No, don't look now. Come on. Yeah. So
Wow, we practiced that in rehearsal so much. You guys nailed it.
So it really is a movie I'm glad I've seen. I'm not sure how many times I'd watch it, but it is well worth seeing, and I'm very glad I've got it in my burgeoning collection. And I'm glad to tick off this movie from that list of movies I should have seen, especially as a horror fan, but hadn't seen. So yeah, I recommend it. And nice on
4K.
a big screen as well.
It's out here. Yeah.
4K mono came out October 3rd.
Oh,
of
okay.
last year,
There we go.
23.
So,
Yep. Criterion.
Nice.
Criterion
there you
collection in 4K.
Oh, well, go for it. I mean, as I said, if you guys haven't seen it, I mean, I don't know. Is it for you? I don't know. I think if it's cheap enough, get it, but don't seek it out. I don't think, because I think that I think also there is a perspective as a parent watching this that I think could be interesting. But and again, I hate to give warnings out, but obviously it does deal with the death of a child very early on, and so that can be tricky as well. But it is a very interesting film. So I recommend it, but I don't know about. I'm not sure for you, Deej. I don't know.
Kaleidoscape
Not that I'm trying to
has it for
curate your.
$14.99 in HD.
Oh, well, you want the 4K. If you're gonna see it in 4K, because you want the HDR. You want the colors leaping off. Red is really tonally and story wise is a really important color in this film. So you want that to look
see
as
that
good as it can.
in the posters for it.
Yeah,
It's like
well,
they got the red. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it looks good.
So it's an important color. So you don't want to have that dulled down by just 1080p. So there you go. But there we go.
1080p.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Jordan says, the US got it on 4K recently. Carl saying, Kaleidoscape doesn't have it, but
yeah, it does. I just had sad. Yeah. Not in 4K.
Not in
It doesn't
4K,
have it in 4K.
Yeah.
Well, Criterion
fair enough.
just hasn't made it there yet. Sometimes it takes a little while. I think Criterion stuff does end up there, but it just came out in October. So, but yeah.
But I'd be, say if you do give it a go, guys, I'd be curious to see what you make of it. But it's very 70s. I mean, this is as I mean, you can almost feel the 70s kind of aesthetic of this. It's in every pore of every frame of this film. But I like it for that.
And
That's
a
one of the
young
reasons I like
Donald
the Omen.
Sutherland.
Well, yeah. Well, quite. He's young enough to get it on with Julie Christie.
Yeah. So,
but the fun thing with this, if you do see it, guys, and I'll say this to anyone listening, after you've seen it, and if you're not aware of all the scuttlebutt that came out of this, then read it up on the IMDb trivia page, which I always like to look at when I've seen a new film that's a classic, because there's all kinds of intrigue about this. And that scene in particular, because Julie Christie was going out with Warren Beatty at the time, who took umbrage at the director because he shot this scene the way he did and punched him in the face. And there's all kinds of there's loads of stuff going on about this film. So the film's good, but all the surrounding stuff on it is fascinating as well.
nice. All right. Yeah, and who is Paul saying in the chat? He's like, it's not
No, yeah,
He's
I
like,
agree.
it's not horror in the modern sense, just in case anyone thinks this is a Halloween or It Follows. I'm like,
Yeah, it's not that.
okay, it's not that. Okay,
Yeah, this
All
is
right.
psychological horror of the 70s, that kind of thing. It's not. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. You're not stalk and slash.
Okie dokie. All right, let's pull that down and we will go to this here. Oh, there's a story behind this too. And I can't wait to see if you guys have seen this or if you like it or what. But here we go. So, The Legend of Tarzan from, is this 2016?
Yeah.
20,
It's not long ago. 2016, 17.
yeah, not long,
One of the two.
not long ago.
Yeah.
So, so here's the story behind it. I was going through my, Apple TV looking for something to watch, and you go on to Netflix, and it shows, all the different movies that are coming to Netflix or whatever. And I saw Tarzan. I'm a huge sucker for a Tarzan movie. And I was like, oh, is this new? And it's saying new to Netflix. I was like, oh, a new Tarzan movie. I'm like, all right. And then I was like, oh, it's Alexander Skarsgård, Samuel Jackson. I'm like, that's not new. I know that movie. I have that movie. I love that movie. All right. Fire up the projector. Let's get going. So I went downstairs, get it going, pulled it up on the Kaleidoscope, and I'm like, that's what's so great about streaming. Streaming's not bad. It's our commercials for what we do in our theater with top quality. Because I was like, it was, and I am telling, have any of you seen this yet in 4K?
I saw it.
Yeah,
in
I've got the 4K
theater.
disc.
I saw it in the theater. I don't have the disc.
Okay. And so you saw the 4K disc, Steve? And
Yeah, while ago,
Does-
but yeah.
what's the disc have? Does it have Atmos? I think it does. I'm pretty sure it
Oh,
does because I have the 4K
Yeah, I
disc
think it does
too.
too. Let me double check.
It is awesome. Absolutely. I mean, this, after watching, I hadn't watched The Good Shepherd yet, but the next one I'll talk about in a little bit, and some other things, and some streaming we've been doing, of course. I put this thing on, and I say thing, I put on The Legend of Tarzan. I was like blown away by the imagery, by the audio, everything about it. I was like, why hasn't this been a standalone show for me? I mean, because I saw Jen and I watched it a long time ago in the theater, probably before I had a podcast, and I loved it. I loved the story. I love the idea of it. How it's not like your typical Tarzan story. It's well after Tarzan became Tarzan, so it's like but then he does again. Here we go. It's like, imagine taking Tarzan out of mothballs, I guess. But it's so good. But the home theater experience, I can't. I wish I could just go into like every single scene. His scream, like when he finally does let out the, I'm not doing it. I used to do it a lot, but when Christopher Waltz has a great line when you finally hear it, and it's like really good. Christopher Waltz is awesome in this too,
yeah, he
right?
is
I mean, oh my God. It's so good. So what did you guys think of the movie? Because it is hokey. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he does swing around by one arm.
I liked it. Again, I'm like you. I'm a sucker for a Tarzan movie because I grew up with the TV show and the movies. Johnny Weissmuller, Ron Ely. I mean, I watched all the Tarzan. So I'm a sucker for Tarzan. Yeah, I liked it. It's like I said, it's been a while. I haven't seen it since 2016, but I remember enjoying it. I mean, it is in my queue of movies to buy eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it. I've got 900 movies saved that I'm going to buy eventually, but
we like to add to them every week.
Yeah, and I just added like 6 more today. So
it's I have seen this film twice. I saw the Blu-ray ages and ages and ages ago, and then I bought the 4K disc, and I seem to remember getting this 4K disc for like £5. It was like brand new, and yet it was just on some crazy deal somewhere, because I've seen it twice, and I would struggle to tell you anything that happens in it, other than I seem to remember some quarry fight with mist and apes coming out of the mist. And that's that, honestly, with a gun to my head, that's about the only thing I could remember clearly about it. And I'm a sucker for Tarzan movies as well. My personal favorite is still the animated Disney one. I love that film. But I think it's just something to do with the way that he surfs through along the branches. I think that's cool. And Phil Collins music. Anyway, that's me. So back to this. And I don't remember much about it. I remember it being, very forgettable. I think that's fairly oxymoronic, isn't it? Or just moronic.
Welcome to Brightside Home Theater Podcast.
Yeah. So I can't remember anything about it, but I do remember it being good. The disc is Atmos, says they're saying in the chat, and I've checked on my system here.
It is.
So it is Atmos. Yeah. So it's, I remember it being good. I just remember the story being forgettable and just kind of not. It just didn't really resonate with me. It's got Margot Robbie in this as well. Isn't she in this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's an all-star cast. It's a really good thing, but just a pedestrian sort of rote story from what I recall, and just not enough to live long in the memory. But it's a Warner's disc, and, they're always good.
You don't need, it's actually better. It's actually better that you don't remember, because then you can watch it over and over and be like, oh, the story's forgettable, but the home theater experience is awesome. So you get to sit there and go, oh, yeah, I know what's coming next. He swings from a vine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It came out in October of 2016 in 4K. So, it was probably I remember watching it I didn't see this in the theater. Jen and I bought it when it came out on disc, and I was like, I couldn't wait to see it. And seeing it now, I bet you the last time I watched this definitely wasn't on the Kaleidoscope. Probably didn't have my Lumagen. Probably didn't even have my 4K projector yet. So this is the first time, and then never mind the upgrades I did for audio too. And I was just like, and what's funny is it's an upscaled to 4K. It's not a native 4K disc. I'm looking at it here. So I imagine the Kaleidoscope's the same way, but it still looks awesome. But I think part of that is like what we say about Netflix all the time is like they know how to shoot stuff to make it look so dynamic and great. Well, they're in the jungle, and there's different, they're in England, they're in the jungle, they're in these places, and it's an awesome home theater disc. Absolutely awesome home theater disc. So, and John, it is $14.88 on Amazon. New from $14.88.
Nice. It's $9.88.
Yeah, talk to you when it's $9.88. Yeah. There we go.
Or £5, which is probably $9.88.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Current exchange rate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. And I didn't even get to these ones. So after this is all still part of Tarzan. I come upstairs from watching that, and on the upstairs TV was the ending to Top Gun. So it's like, we're getting ready to go out for dinner. I'm like, gotta go back downstairs. Kaleidoscope, the theater was still running. Go back downstairs, put on the end scene. Jen sitting there twiddling her thumbs. So I watched the entire end battle scene of Top Gun because it was playing on, I don't know, Paramount or whatever channel she had on, and she just left it on. That was her mistake. And then, of course, after watching that final battle scene, I had to go and, watch a couple of scenes from Maverick. So hopped on over there, watched a few scenes. We were late for dinner, but we didn't have reservations, so it was no big deal. But welcome to the mind of somebody with ADHD. All right, Steve, you ready for your, I think this is your last one, right?
Yeah, I've got to do this one.
Yep. All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is the 2021 film, I think it is, called Alone. Now, have either of you heard of this?
No.
Nope.
Me neither. Until, I think it was Monday or Tuesday of last week, I seem to remember, when friend of the show, someone you may have heard of, Todd Anderson, tweeted me about it, having seen it, and he clarified today, because we've been DMing all day, and he clarified today that that he watched it on Kaleidoscape. Now, I had never heard of it. You didn't know it at all. And he tweeted me out of the blue and just said, Steve, give this a go. It's very tense. It's well worth seeing. And I'm like, okay, fine. He said it's schlocky, but give it a go. So I ordered the Blu-ray, which was not easy to come by either. I managed to sort of track down a copy on Amazon, but it was via a third-party supplier. But it's a UK disc. It just seems to be they didn't do that many of them. So it's Blu-ray, 1080p, DTS HD 5.1, and obviously upmixed to Neural X. And it's a schlocky B movie. I'm not sure I'd call it a horror. I think it's more of a thriller. About a lady. I mean, stop me if you've heard this. It's about a lone female in a car who has a problem with another car, and the person in that car then pursues her, and then things happen, and she ends up alone. Anyway, yeah,
Steve,
things
we
go from there.
talked about spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That will quite. I mean, this is everyone. This is Jewel. This is The Hills Have Eyes. This is you name it. This is I mean, all of those films, Wrong Turn, and all those movies. And The Last House on the Left. Sorry, Carl, if you're listening. Although Carl, obviously your version was better. But gonna say that. But nevertheless, it's a 90-minute movie. Again, it's a short film. And it is a lot of fun. It's never boring. It is, cliche to all hell, but it's never boring. It's really enjoyable. That 90 minutes flies by, and generally, the characters behave like they should in real life. Generally, so there's not a lot of very silly, stupid decisions made. Generally, they do what they're supposed to do, and you do in the same situation, but it goes wrong because it's movie land. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good, and so much so I'm looking forward to. I watched it on my own today. I had some time off this afternoon, and I watched it in the cinema room. And I'm going to rewatch this with someone else who I think will get a kick out of it in the next couple of days. So it was a really good recommendation from Todd. It's a fun film. Now, in terms of its audio video, the video on it for 1080p, and bear in mind this must have been a micro budget, because I don't think anyone's heard of this movie. So it must have been a micro budget film, and yet the image quality is really good. It's digitally shot, obviously, as they all are these days. But there are a couple of scenes of close-ups where you've got a character's face, where you've got the blood, mud, kind of bruising and cuts around the face, and then bright white teeth, and it's in close-up, and it looks absolutely phenomenal, and it looks 4K. I mean, obviously the screen is up mixing to is up converted to 4K anyway, but it looks like it's 4K. It is razor sharp, and it's really, really good. And then the audio is really great. You've got, it's up next to Neural X, so you've got storms, you've got thunder moving around the room, you've got rain coming from overhead. It is decent, and also interestingly, when there are fights, because there's got to be. The punches that are going in sound like someone hitting a slab of meat. It's got real power to these punches, and actually kind of makes you wince a bit when you kind of hear them hitting.
When you duck.
No, there's no ducks involved. No, I'm just kidding.
Swans.
But geese, a few geese, nothing else.
Few geese.
But you feel like that kind of that real thud and the real impact, and the punches are kind of wet as well, and it really does feel powerful. So I recommend this if you can find it. I mean, it's on Kaleidoscape, as I said. Todd, confirmed it. If you've got 90 minutes, if you want to watch it with Jen, you want a kind of thriller. It's not really a horror; it's more of a thriller.
Okay.
And there's some fun to be had afterwards with, well, what if she did that? Or what if he did this? And Todd and I were DMing about some alternative sort of storylines to it, which is fun. And it'd be interesting to talk to you about it if you see it as well. And John, if you can find it streaming, so it's bound to be streaming, I would have thought, then it's worth 90 minutes of your time. And again, there'd be some very interesting conversations about what could they have done differently and still made it a fun film. So, yeah, I recommend this. If you can find it, guys, get it. I would say. But, there we go.
And I just bought it.
Go push play.
Wrong
how much?
button.
Show's over.
Go put, How much was it, Deej?
$14.99 on Kaleidoscape.
It's more than I paid for the Blu-ray.
Yeah, $14.99. I hope I got the right one because there's another movie, Alone, that came out in 2020 that it's also 1 hour and 32 minutes. But that one's about worldwide zombie outbreak. So
It's not that.
Nope. I'm pretty sure I got the right one.
Is it in 4K or is it Blu-ray?
Nope, just HD.
Okay,
HD Blu-ray.
You'll love it.
Master Audio 5.1. So
yeah, you'll be really pleased with how it looks. Jordan, just because Jordan said in the chat, might try and grab it on Blu-ray. It's not easy to find, Jordan. You won't find it in the normal kind of places because I looked, but it is on Blu-ray in the UK. I had to buy it, as I said, from a third-party seller. God knows where they're from because it arrived today and the stamps are all weird, so I don't know where it's come from. But it is English. It's an English disc. So yeah, worth picking up. It's about 12 quid, I think it was. So yeah, it's good. Well, we're seeing.
You can rent it on Amazon Prime for 99 cents.
Oh, John, do it. Let me know what you think.
$3.99 from Apple, but 99 cents on Amazon. So
yeah,
it's pretty cheap.
Is that HD?
HD, yep, and you can get it on YouTube HD also for 99 cents. So.
Oh man, John, that is worth doing, and then we can discuss because I've got some story ideas for this.
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
Then we can have a spoiler-filled show.
Yeah, take over Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, but no, it's good. It's well worth seeing. Yeah,
Nice. All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. Pull that down. Oh this last one. This is the last one for this week. This has been a long time coming, much requested. And as a matter of fact, somebody on YouTube mentioned it, and I replied, was it Jordy or something, Steve? Do you remember the name?
Oh, I mean, if it was Geordie, we don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, no, different spelling, but I might be wrong on that. I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Yeah,
who
I'm not
said
sure who it was. Someone did, but I'm not sure who it was.
I was in the theater, and I happened to look. I was looking for something to watch, and I went onto my YouTube, and I'm like just checking to see if anybody said anything, and this comment was there. So, long time coming. Here we go. Armageddon. I'm not gonna sing. I'm not gonna do my best Steven Tyler impression.
Take your time with it, Deej, because I don't want to miss a thing.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, and I love that song too. That's like, oh man, so dangerous at karaoke. How come nobody does karaoke to podcasts? Because I could do that. Or comedians. That would be fun too. Like you get like a bit and just get up and do the bit. But anyways, yes, Armageddon in 1080p with DTS Master Audio 5.1. I will say, this is on the Kaleidoscape. I have the disc. The audio is good. It's really good. I wouldn't, and maybe real good, not really good. I don't know how to couch it. It's not a reference disc. I got to be honest, it's kind of disappointing. Mm-hmm. And I love this movie. You just want to have so much fun with it. It deserves a 4K remaster, absolutely, because the image quality was not very good. It was just like, you're like, was this the first Blu-ray they made? Like literally,
it's muddy, isn't it? Murky.
Yeah. It's the entire thing, and it's like the audio is not horrible, but it's good. Like I said, it's real good, but you could add so much more to it. Doesn't even have to be Atmos or DTSX. It just has to be like, just clean it up a little, give it a little bit more dynamics, because some of their explosions didn't have the extension that I wanted to get into. My remote never lit up, and there's so much stuff here. Like when you got Steve Buscemi sitting there, and he's like, things are going wrong, and he's like looking at Earth, and things are exploding all around him, and everybody's panicking, and he's just idiot. It's so odd. He's so great in this. You want the room exploding, like properly, and it just didn't. So I gotta say, I was pretty disappointed, but I don't mind saying that. I think pretty much everybody already owns this, and if you don't own it, I don't know if I would say get it. I'd be like, just wait for the 4K. If you don't own it by now, there's really no need to run out and get it, because I think if you're a huge home theater fan, you bought this anyways. It's like one of the top movies, you know. And I don't know, has anybody in the chat saying they've never seen it? Like, it's, you know, it's so good. It's so much fun. It's so realistic. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I gotta say, it was very disappointing, but I still had fun watching it, right? Even the most disappointing movie, a fun movie like this, you're not gonna walk out of there going, oh, I wish I didn't do that. You know, I mean, you got Bruckheimer and Bay. I mean, I can't remember the last time I walked out and went, that was bad. No. But it does deserve to be remastered. So when was the last time you guys watched this?
Oh, ages.
Yeah, I've seen it recently-ish, probably in the last couple of years. I mean, I've seen this film hundreds of times. I mean, I love this movie. And I mean, I had the Criterion director's cut or whatever it was, the non-anamorphic DVD when that came out. And then which was a really nice set. And then I bought the Blu-ray, which is what I've still got. I mean, I'd pick up the 4K on this in a heartbeat, but I don't think we're going to see it in 4K, Deej. I don't think we will, because it's Touchstone, as Van Gogh's just said in the chat. It is Touchstone. And whilst Disney now would own that, as I understand it, because it was Buena Vista, wasn't it, before that? But I don't sense, and from what I understand, there's just no buzz on this at all. And yet, you know, they did
Let's
Deep
get
Impact.
it going.
Well, yeah, they did Deep Impact, the other comet movie from 1998.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is better just because it's just crazy. And you know,
it's
famously, NASA used to show this to their astronauts and say, right, how many problems can you pick with this? How many faults can you pick with the science of this? And that used to famously is what they used to do before Moonfall. But now they just show the Moonfall. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic movie. And I too, when I last watched it, sat down thinking, oh, here we go, you know, a new cinema room, this is going to be brilliant. And it was exactly, you said, I thought it was blurry and fuzzy and murky when it shouldn't have been, which is just the mark of the transfers of the time and the codecs they were using. And again, the DTS audio, again, was not all that great, and it should be, because it's just such a barnstorming film, this one. And mildly embarrassingly, because again, I was at camp in 98, so I saw this at the summer of 98. And I remember one of the things I was thinking about with this, I remember standing outside of one of the units, and this little kid came up to me, and I was 23 in 1998. And this little kid came up to me and he said, "You look like Harry." And I'm like, "What?" Sorry, I'm my name's Steve, talking about.
Yeah.
And then I realized he meant Harry from this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Willis was what, 40 something, and I was 23, and he was telling me that I looked like bloody Bruce Willis. Cheeky little git. Anyway, they never found it. They never found his body. So that was all good. I mean, sorry, did I say that? Sorry, I don't mean that. His ghost still walks the camp to this day.
There you go. Oh, God. People are saying, Van Gogh's saying in the chat, he thinks let's see, we got some comments here. We need a 4K, but heard the film was lost that it was shot on. Steve Att saying needed to be remastered. Shame could have been a contender. Paul Hurt, like, watched the first 10 minutes a couple of nights ago. Hasn't aged well, in my opinion. Maybe I should have watched the last 10 minutes instead. Yep. It's too bad. It is so much fun, but I mean, hopefully maybe someday they'll find, I mean, how do you lose it? How do you lose
especially a film of that age. I mean, it's 98. It's not like it's 78 or 68. And it was a massive film. So yeah, I don't know, but I had heard that there are issues with it, but the main issue will be that it's Touchstone. I'm sure there are rights issues with this. There's bound to be, because otherwise, you know, you would have done it. John Thompson says in the mix, I still think it holds the record for the loudest mix. Well, yeah, great.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know that from the Blu-ray.
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah,
How good would
and
it
I've
be?
heard that too about it, and but then you get that's like getting into the dynamics. The whole thing's loud. So, but yeah, the Blu-ray is not what it should be, and hopefully we can maybe someday. Maybe
Well, we
someday.
want the Rock, we want Armageddon, we want all the the Bay at his peak is what
Yeah.
we want.
Yeah.
And that would be fantastic. And you'd pick them up. You'd sell your grandma to get one of those in 4K, or maybe that's just me. But I absolutely 4K of those come out. I'm there day one. More honestly, I'd rather have the Rock and Armageddon in 4K more than I'd want the Abyss and True Lies.
Really? Really?
I love the Rock's great, and Armageddon as well in a 4K Dolby Atmos. Give me those, and I need Nemesis.
I haven't
If I had to
seen The
choose.
Rock in a little bit, but I did see it, and it is good. But and obviously I'd seen Armageddon, and we do have them, but we didn't even have the Abyss. We had that in DVD,
but-
so we kind of needed that first. To be fair, but
Yeah, well,
I
we've
do
got
agree
that.
with you. I'm super excited, but maybe over True Lies. I don't know, but I mean, having seen what they. Having seen them now, we kind of, it's on the back burner. Oh, we got that. Now we need this. But I don't remember a lot of people crying out when we still didn't have Abyss and True Lies and Aliens. Not a lot of people were crying out for this first. And I mean, they're iconic. Absolutely. The Rock, Armageddon, they're absolutely iconic. And I mean, there's money to be made there.
And I mean, I say this as someone who has pre-ordered the Abyss from the US. So I've got my pre-order in, so that'll be
Nice.
here. So, but still, I would take those two over the Abyss if I had to choose. But there we go.
Oh, John. In
Yeah,
the
sorry,
chat.
yeah, you
Yep,
did that.
There
Sorry.
we go. John in the chat saying Bruckheimer is the reason they have not been remastered. He wants too high a price for that Rock, etc. For the Rock, etc. So yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah. I went off on that was one of my rants in Takeover Tuesday today too, but we'll save that for another time, or just go listen to Takeover Tuesday. So, all right, is that it, guys? Anything else? John,
Yeah,
did you buy or
I got-
watch anything else while we were sitting here?
No, but I got a dinner on the table, man.
Yeah,
So
and I'm
I gotta run.
I gotta make my dinner, and then I gotta go skate and get home and eat my dinner. So everybody, thank you very much for all your participation. Everybody in the chat, everybody emailing us. As I said on Takeover Tuesday, if you want to be on the show and do a Takeover Tuesday, just email me, dj@brightsidehometheater.com. Links are always in the show notes, how you can reach me. And we'll schedule it. I'm scheduling weeks out right now. Next week, very, very special guest for next week's Takeover Tuesday. If I talk too much about this gentleman, I'll bring a tear to my eye. So stay tuned for that one. That's next Tuesday. And then, like I said, I'm scheduling a few weeks out. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's how Steve started out. Actually started out by criticizing me on Twitter. And then
About Midway.
That's the way.
Exactly. So, so yeah. So thank you very much. We appreciate all of the support, monetary and otherwise. Keep it all coming. Really appreciate it. And you know what you got to do.
Go push play.
What he said.
It is right. Okie dokie. Where's the closing?
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.